back on NFL Live, and I'm going to do a Dolphin impersonation. Eliminated.
That is absolutely. That Dolphin dead. That Dolphin.
Listen,
it is chicken of the sea right now.
You're sounding like a dog. Don't do it.
That's them dolphins in Jamaica.
Well, make somebody else do a dolphin. Wait, what did you just do?
That's the
do
dolphins in Jamaica.
That's a seal. Let's move on.
Yeah, that is a seal.
This is a
That
seal.
is a seal.
Oh, a dolphin, my lord.
That's how that dolphin in Jamaica sounds.
Dying.
I'm just gonna say a dolphin is hard.
species.
A dolphin's hard to do.
That's how that dolphin in Jamaica sounded when he saw he had to push my big ass.
All right, well, no more Dolphin sounds from us. The Dolphins lost to the Jets on Sunday. Coach Mike McDaniel said he was informed Tyreek Hill was unavailable before a drive in the second half, but not for an injury. Here's Hill after the game.
This is my first time. I haven't been in the playoffs, man. So, I mean, for me, like I said, man, I just got to do what's best for me and my family, dog. If that's here, if that's wherever the case may be, man, I'm finna open that door for myself, dog. As I'm opening the door, like I'm out, bro. You know, so it was great playing here, but you know, at the end of the day, bro, I got to do what's best for for my career and what's best, because I'm too much of a competitor to be, just.
Does that mean you're
out there.
Mean you thinking about leaving here?
If it is,
Get it out.
Okay, what do you make of that, RC? Sounds like he's done.
One, it ain't the right time, though.
Yeah.
It's not the right time or the right place. You weren't saying this when they threw you, or when you caught 119 balls the last 2 seasons and over 1,700 yards. All you talked about was how great your quarterback was, how great your play caller was. And you had a year of struggle because your quarterback was injured.
Yeah.
And even if you feel this way, one, you don't inform your team that you're not available if you can still run, if you can still play. And secondly, you don't go back into the locker room post-game and say these things when you understand it's been a tough season for everybody. And I get it. If you're a competitor and you want to win, you can't be oxymoronic, because a competitor that wants to win gets on the field when he's asked to get on the field because he's that good and can allow his team to succeed. And so to me, it's total bullcrap by Tyreek Hill and in his actions and in his words.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep an eye on it for sure. Another star player with his future in doubt for next season, Aaron Rodgers. The Jets quarterback addressed what's next for him after Sunday's win over Miami.
Yeah, we'll have the conversations in the next few days. Whatever, happens out of there. I don't know if anything will be definitive coming out of those, but I just need some time away to think about my future in the game and my future, here if they want me to be a part of the next phase, or if they're ready to move on. Either way, I'm thankful for my 2 years here. Obviously, there's a lot of hypotheticals here. So if I want to play, hypothetical number 1. If they want to move on, hypothetical number 2. Would I be willing to play for another team, hypothetical number 3? The answer is yes.
Dan, should the Jets bring Rodgers back next season?
I think it has to be on the table for them, because I don't know if they're going to have a ton of better options. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is who he used to be, but I do think he played winning football the last 8 weeks or so now. On the field, that's an easy answer. Off the field, that comes with a lot that you have to take on as an organization, as the Jets kind of realized in the last 2 years. But I do think that there's teams that need quarterbacks. What's going to happen in New Orleans? What's going to happen in Las Vegas? Tennessee, the Jets, Cleveland, San Francisco. I think one of those organizations is going to sit there and say, if we can get the player on the field in good weather and healthy that we saw the last 8 weeks, he can play winning football. But you have to understand, you are bringing a lot into your football team.
Yeah, San Francisco, that's an interesting one. All right, much more ahead here on NFL Live. Marcus, what do you have coming next for us?
Y'all know I got that B&B about to turn up.
Is he just walking in front of the camera, too?
him and Mina.
What are y'all doing?
You ain't lying. B&B coming up, man. Listen, we gonna get past that. I'm gonna get to this. My man Sweat walked in with a commemoration of his interception and still for his sweat. Little man, get down. Look at the big fella. Look at the circumference of the thighs. Always can tell a great athlete because the ankles get small at the bottom. This is vintage B&B. See a little overhang right there by the belt line?
Love it.
All right, ball high and tight, squares to the belly, and a hand straight to your face. What did the 5 finger say to the face? Slap, because B&B got the football.
He said
B&B
slap.
coming up next. Big man balling in studio.
On Adam Schefter, the man with all the answers. Shefty, let's start in Baltimore. What do we know about the availability of Zay Flowers Saturday night against the Steelers? Hey, Mina. Get it, girl. Oh, go back one more time. There we go. All right.
By the way,
little rusty.
no.
My girl been at the crib.
Joey, hold on. Just have Mina keep walking
This
back
is
and
not-
forth in that
What's
shot.
happening?
That's
What's
excellent television. Mina, come on. Come on, Mina.
I ain't gonna let him do you like
That is
that.
all for that. They're talking about all pros over here. Hey, no collusion in
I've
the
been there
studio.
before.
All right. Adam, Zay Flowers, what's he doing?
Well, Zay Flowers is considered day-to-day for now, according to the Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh. They're going to see if he can make it back in time for this week's game
against the Pittsburgh Steelers after suffering that knee injury against the Cleveland Browns this past week. Sounds like it could be a little challenging to get back this week. The good part is it doesn't seem to be a long-term injury, and if Baltimore is able to advance, I think he definitely will be back the next week. Meanwhile, as for another injury right now, Christian Watson, torn ACL, devastating injury, went down yesterday, non-contact. The moment he went down, you knew it wasn't going to be good. After the game, Matt LaFleur said he was not optimistic about the nature of the injury, and of course it turned out that the test shown the torn ACL. Disappointing into the season. Jordan Love went out of the game yesterday with what they called a right elbow injury. His hand had some tape on it. He was flexing his hand, but near the end of the game, he was warming up as if he was thinking about trying to come back in. The Packers don't believe it's going to be a problem for this weekend in a game in which they'll be up against the Eagles and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who still remains in concussion protocol now, a couple of weeks after he suffered that concussion. We'll see if he's able to clear protocol this week and get back to the playing field. Let's get Mina back in the shot here one more time, Laura. Come on.
I was going to say, anybody out there who makes memes, get to making it. It's just going to be
We've got something for you.
Yeah, we got a good meme. Is it a GIF, a meme? I don't know. That's a meme. All right, thanks to Adam. Now, let's talk about Jordan Love a little bit more. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in his final 6 games. He led the NFL in total QBR since week 13, 3 points better than the presumptive MVP, Josh Allen. It's been impressive. So the quarterback is playing well, but one of the main targets, Dan, is out now, and Christian Watson. You just hate to see it. How does the loss of Watson affect this Green Bay offense?
It makes the offense horizontal. It makes the offense really stress sideline to sideline. Now, it's something that they're very good at because they get into their counter or their spin or run game, and they get into their 4-by-1 formations. It's a lot of the yards after the catch, but just look at the impact that he has for Jordan Love and the ability to just try to create some chunks. On the field, he's almost 9 yards per attempt, pushing the ball downfield with the actual throws. And the bottom number is the big one, 31 20-yard completions. Some of them are to Watson, some of them are just because of the space that Watson creates for other people. When it's off, I mean, everything drops down, and that's my big concern is he was really their vertical stretch guy. He really was, and without him, now Matt LaFleur is going to be challenged with, well, how do they create explosive plays against a defense that, one, the only way to really go at them is the corners. That's your best bet, at least. And then 2, you got to think that they're going to have some success Philadelphia offensively, so you got to keep up.
Yeah, so, and things condense so greatly when Christian Watson is not on the field, not only in the way that you call plays as a defensive coordinator, but the way they're going to see it from field level. They're going to understand that Jaden Reed plays a lateral game. Romeo Dobbs, who was kind of the one-on-one winner on the outside, is also not a burner. He scares you more when he gets into the slot, and you can get the slot fade where he can play off of leverage. And so if I know those things, right, and I have to watch every team every week, what do you think the Philadelphia Eagles and Vic Fangio are going to focus on? And so for me, it's going to be huge for Josh Jacobs to get going early for this team, so you can get into some of those condensed splits, some of those 4-by-1s, and get into the play action game, because you won't feel like you can just get out and go out and beat people one-on-one.
That play action game, I think, is big.
Yeah, we did hear from Adam, Mina, that Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. But when it comes to the Eagles side of this game, how do you expect them to handle the Packers defense?
Yeah, I think back to the Packers when they played the Vikings a couple weeks ago, and I said, wow, this Vikings offensive line looks like the Eagles offensive line against the pass rush. Now they're facing the actual Eagles offensive line, and I don't feel great about it for the Green Bay Packers pass rush. I think Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, has done a really good job this year, particularly with some of the coverage rotations, compensating for injuries. I just think this particular matchup in the trenches is such a mismatch that Jalen Hurts is going to have a lot of time in the drop back passing game.
I think about numbers advantages, man. And the last time we saw Philly working their way to a Super Bowl, it was created by that duo in the backfield. At that time, it was Miles Sanders along with Jalen Hurts. And obviously, we know what's on the outside and how many plays can be made out there. But even in the game that Jalen Hurts was hurt in against Washington, his legs were already becoming a factor in that game before he got the concussion. This is the bind that you're going to be in now, too, because Saquon Barkley can go 80. Right? He's shown that speed. He showed that physicality, the vision in order to open it up. And now you got to make a decision. Pick your poison.
Do you think Kellen will still play the same with Jalen coming off of concussion protocol?
I think he has to, RC. I think he has to, because the only way that this team dictates to people is
Does he have to, though? I don't think he has to. I think that's the thing, especially with no Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I mean,
who's going to cover AJ?
But Dan, when you think about, all right, so you think about it in this context for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Like Jalen coming off of 3 weeks not playing. And I get what y'all saying about protecting him and not going back into that. You're going to win the Super Bowl because of that, though.
But you do it when you have to. That's my thing.
I just don't think you can deviate away from it. He didn't get 2005
week,
picking passing games.
Yeah, I just feel like this week you have to play it a little straighter with Jalen, and I believe the run game with the offensive line and Saquon Barkley is good enough to do that and win against the Packers.
They do have so many options offensively, right? They can change it up. That's been part of their success this season. We got more coming your way here.
Hey, did you hear about the big meeting between Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy? It's got everyone buzzing. Just imagine being a fly on the wall during that conversation. What could they have discussed? the timing is no coincidence it happened right after the Chicago Bears requested to interview McCarthy for their head coaching vacancy. Now, think about it, a head coach being courted by another team while still under contract. It raises so many questions. Does McCarthy even want to stay, or is Jerry Jones starting to have doubts about keeping him around? Here's the kicker. This meeting could determine McCarthy's future with the Cowboys. But I want to hear your take. What do you think they talked about? Drop your guesses in the comments. And if you're as hooked on this drama as I am, stick around because things are about to get even more interesting. So here's what happened next. The Cowboys officially denied the Bears' request to interview McCarthy. Now, that might sound like a simple move, but it speaks volumes about what's happening behind the scenes. Think about it, if Jerry Jones had immediately approved the request, it would have been like handing McCarthy a one-way ticket out of Dallas. It would have sent a clear message, we're ready to move on. On the flip side, if McCarthy had pushed to explore the Bears' offer, it would have meant he wasn't all in on staying with the Cowboys. But instead, the request was denied. It's not a guarantee that McCarthy is staying, but it shows that both sides are still talking, still figuring things out. It's like a chess game. Both Jerry and Mike are carefully considering their next moves. So here's a question for you. Do you think Jerry made the right call denying the Bears' request? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. This story is far from over. Now let's dig a little deeper. What's really going on here? Is this about loyalty, or is there something else at play? Think about McCarthy for a second. Denying the Bears' request could be a win for him if he's fully committed to staying. But what if he wasn't? What if he saw Chicago's interest as leverage to negotiate a better deal with Jerry Jones? It wouldn't be the first time a coach used outside offers to get a raise or more control. And what about Jerry? By shutting down Chicago's request, he's keeping his options open. Maybe he's not ready to fully commit to McCarthy, but he's not ready to let him walk out the door just yet either. It's a high-stakes balancing act, and both sides are playing it cautiously. So here's a vote for you. If you were in Jerry's shoes, would you commit to McCarthy for another season or start looking for a replacement? Cast your vote in the comments, and let's see where you stand. You've probably heard the insiders say it over and over. Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy have a strong relationship, but let's be honest, how solid is that? Really, 5 years together might build trust, but in the NFL, relationships are only as strong as the last win. Jerry isn't exactly known for his patience, and McCarthy knows that every decision is under a microscope. Sure, people at the start insist the bond between these two is genuine. But when a coach's future is uncertain, words can only go so far. Actions speak louder, don't they? What do you think? Is this strong relationship just PR spin, or is there real trust between them? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your perspective could make this conversation even more interesting. And don't go anywhere, because the final chapter is where we'll break down what could happen next. So, where do we go from here? Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy are clearly still in discussions, but let's face it, the clock is ticking. Denying the Bears' request was one thing, but it doesn't lock in McCarthy's future. If Jerry sticks with him, he's betting big that McCarthy can finally take the Cowboys past their playoff struggles. But if he decides to move on, it opens the door to a whole new chapter for the team and maybe a different head coach to lead the charge. Now it's your turn. If you were Jerry Jones, what would you do? Stick with McCarthy or roll the dice on someone new? Drop your decision in the comments, and let's see how the Cowboys Nation feels. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you're the first to know what happens next. This story is far from over.